Hi, friends. Want to take a second to connect with you, share a few things, maybe do a little bit of an additional teaching, and overall just make sure I'm supporting your journey as we're starting phase two of this Brave Your Abundance course. Um, Before I jump into that, I want to just be super vulnerable. Well, it doesn't take a ton of vulnerability. I'm just being very open with you. The technology glitches have increased. It feels tenfold, but that might be a little bit of a dramatic statement. Crazy. I've done this for years. I've used these systems for so long. And why now? Why at a time such as this are there all these glitches and obstacles to kind of get the process um, felt and experienced from the very beginning? So, first and foremost, I want to thank you for your continued grace and patience as those kind of things happen. I was really I want to use I don't ever mind using me as an example for just like the living Bible. This is meant to be read, but it's meant to be experienced. And we're meant to be the Bible for people, not to replace it, but to have people have an experience with heaven, with the truth of who God is and what he's saying. There's the written word, the logos word, and there's the rhema, the here and the now, the breathed word. That's what we're really trying to amp up. I don't know where each of you are on your journey with this, but the book of Acts and this concept of how Jesus was showing up after his resurrection, we love and we honor, and the full gospel story is not just one slice of the gospel message. It's the entirety of the gospel message. And this Brave Your Abundance course, we're focusing on right now in this month that his spirit is alive and active. It's alive and it's active. It's his breathed living word as he reigns and he is on the mountain. He's in heaven. Jesus also, the personhood of Jesus, returning to heaven, and that the Holy Spirit comes down on those as believers, and we're filled with the Spirit. We're going to be pressing into that in the book of Acts. And what we're able to do, how we're able to act, how we're able to respond in life, always to bring glory to God, or another way of saying it, heaven on earth, bringing heaven into this conversation, into my work life, into my marriage or this relationship, into my this role that I play as a daughter, as a aunt, as a mom, as a best friend, as a community member, as a church member, whatever it is. Am I bringing heaven to earth? And that's what I'll just repeat, just to really make sure you know how to spend the days in between these coaching sessions. So I have been feeling, I feel like what it is an attack kind of on all fronts. Like, the enemy doesn't want us to be free. The enemy doesn't want us to know our true identity. The enemy doesn't want us to allow Jesus to be fully manifested, to be fully experienced through us. That is not. Satan is here to kill, steal, and destroy. Jesus came to give life in abundance. And to walk in and be in alignment. I'm in chiropractic season right now, and I really, every time I say alignment, I think about the importance of us being in alignment in our skeletal system, because it is holding us up, and our muscles and tendons, and so much of is riding on everything, is contingent on being in alignment. That's our body. That's the same for our soul. It's the same for our spirit. Our spirit being in alignment, covering our soul, our mind, will, and our emotions, and just ensuring that no matter what, and even if we can have this abundant abundant portion, this abundant mindset for today. And I'm just feeling it on all sides. Um, I had told the group that when we were first starting on Monday night, so for the first few minutes, I was articulating how my Monday, and then little did I know what Tuesday was also going to be a high. It was an inflamed day, and Monday was as well. So there were some changes to my work schedule. All of this is going to come to a point. There were some changes in my work schedule on Monday. My coworker, my friend, and I, we host the Abundantly Me podcast, and we do the brunt of the recording on Monday. Anyway, there were changes, so I couldn't, which then allowed me to pray and to spend time with this next phase, to connect with each of you, to just really do. I'm like, wow, Lord, I love how you're not wasting any time. What I normally would be doing, couldn't do, which left a lot of space for preparation and helping people get settled. And then, man, it was so good that I had that time, because that's what cracked us into alignment. It was so great. And you were like, "Oh yeah, thanks for the reminder. I'm definitely joining you in phase 2." And it was just so like, oh God, he was so tangible. He's such a provisional God. And so I never get to spend as much time as I did over the preparation of a course. And I've done it before. I know what the course content is going to be, but y'all know I hold space for not only what the content is that God and I planned and we wrote out together, but he's always having me say, but be prepared for a shift. And so I think I was both. I think I was prepared for whatever was going to happen, whatever the hearts of the women who were going to be live on that Monday, which is like 6 or 7 of us. And then also just what God is doing in the here and the now. And anyway, so I was so excited. As many of you know, there were just these tech glitches on a variety of reasons and fronts. And I already was having, because of other things personally, I was already having an inflamed day, aside from the fact that the work day was different, because I was so grateful it could be what it ended up being. But in addition to that, I was really clinging to like a thread of Jesus, just things that I'm going through, things that, and again, if you listen to the podcast, you'll have a deep dive as to what I'm explaining. And and so I could tell that I was feeling the residual. I was feeling like more nervous. I was feeling like I was letting people down. And then it took me a minute to get cracked back into alignment with God. And I don't mind sharing the behind the scenes details, the realness of what it's like to be a business owner, to run a ministry, to have the highs and lows of life happen, because I live this work. I'm not absent from life happening. I don't set myself aside. I don't act like I've already arrived and have it all figured out. I need this just as much as anyone else who said, yes, I want to sign up for this. And then usually what happens, I'm not saying it's a guaranteed pattern, but when I am braving my own abundance, Satan comes on in here and he tries to kill, steal, and destroy. He tries to kill the night. He tries to steal the joy and the freedom. He tries to destroy the excitement of what already was planned. He's always working and slithering and sleeking and trying to find a way in. And so, me stepping out of my true identity, who God says I am, he calls me rock. He calls me rock upon which much is built. I went through an identity prayer session and I received my true identity. Now, in our session, we did some of that work, but I'm realizing I want to make sure everyone in this month hears who God says you are. My name is Tara. That's my birth given name. I can tell how God is utilizing the meaning behind Tara. It's not too far off from rock, but I went through a prayer experience, a it's called a listening prayer. And it's basically just saying, I'm going to ask God questions and then I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to receive what it is he is saying to me. We've already experienced that together. So when I show up and there are tech glitches, I in my mind need to say, remember, Tara, God calls you rock, Petra. So yes, you can do this, Tara, but step into this as to how the truth of who God says you are. You have what it takes. You have a firm foundation, even though it doesn't feel very firm. And you're kind of wondering what other people are thinking with the product you're putting out there. Remember, your identity and your truth is not contingent on how this is going. And so that's why I could keep moving and I don't fold like a cheap suit. And there may have been days I got emotional, and maybe it wasn't I would have gotten emotional in front of people as like an early classroom teacher. Maybe it was when I got in my car and I was driving home and I just "Boo," and I just released it. But those days are few and far between now because I know in the moment how to access and how to access love and truth and how to exchange any lies or any maybe I'm putting thoughts in your head. Maybe I'm guessing what you're thinking, which is compounding how I'm feeling and the disappointment of it all. And so then, I get my system and my abundance gets hijacked, which is the plan of Satan. The reality is sometimes Satan doesn't even have to participate because we beat ourselves up, in our not enoughness. We do it and Satan just sits back and says, "Oh, Tara's doing a real good job beating herself up. I don't have to do another thing." Or if he's really intimidated by what is going to be on the other side of this glitch, he very well might jump in the pity pool with me and stand in agreement and give me all the pattern, all of the experiences of this world, other things I've forgotten. Hey, don't forget this, and don't forget this is this time. And remember when this person said that, just to keep us out of alignment and distracted and distorted and all that. So I just want to highlight that for you that I live in this, I experience it. I am never going to be have arrived to where I won't need to exchange the lies for the truth, the lies for love. It's just an ongoing experience that I don't mind being transparent with how it occurs in my life, mostly when it comes to holding space for each of you to connect with God. Because that's all I want. I want to have you connect and experience the heart of God, no matter what it is that we're doing. So, yeah, I invite you to listen to the podcast. It's episode number 23. It's this week's podcast. It always comes out on Wednesdays. I just invite you in. I'm not going to explain it now because then I'm just I already did, but if you want to listen in to me being really raw, yeah, listen to episode number 23. And it's Mental Health Awareness Month this May, and so it correlates with how do we do that exchange? What is it like to flip the script? And sometimes it's not easy. So I'd love for you to listen in. All right. What else did I want to mention? So, and then there were more tech glitches. Oh, and then this is a whole other teaching I'm going to do, probably a Facebook Live pop up. But when I recorded the session on Monday night with you guys, um, I just go through my natural steps and I sit here and clean up and start wrapping up and thanking God for the session and chatting with him about things that I'm feeling a little tightly wound about, like all the tech glitches or whatever. And then I let the upload and I let it, the video save. And then it went through the whole process and it said, cannot save, not enough room um, on my computer. And I remember having some warnings that my computer has a lot of videos and my storage is getting lessened. Is I don't have much space left. But I ignored it and I forgot. I forgot that I was giving that warning and I was just going to go through and spend time deleting unnecessary images and videos. And then you got to empty the trash. So those of you who pay attention to my my little jog around the 4-mile block here around my home and my neighborhood. And there's a there's garbage cans towards the end of the run with Jagger. And I sometimes will stop and at the dumpsters, and I've got to throw away some lies, some limiting beliefs. And the hope is that I'm receiving truth, and it's my ability to respond to throw it away, empty it out, and receive the truth. Well, that's exactly in a technology world what happened. And then I realized I have not cleaned up and thrown away things that were clouding up my ability, like the storage space, the bandwidth. It was not, I wasn't able to receive, my computer wasn't able to receive any incoming messaging, any new videos, any new truth, because this was full. And it was like, oh, I've got to clean up. And then I got to empty the garbage. And that is part of what we've been doing last month and going into this month. I hope last month's part of the Brave Your Abundance course allowed for some acknowledging of the garbage and then emptying and throwing it away. But the next step, and what we're really pressing into in this part of the course, is that we got to empty the garbage. We actually have to completely free ourselves. And so we got to let the garbage truck take all the garbage, empty it out so that more can be received. And so to stay on this for a moment, just in case you don't listen to the upcoming Facebook Live, um, what we're doing is not just asking the question, Jesus, how do you want to work through us unencumbered? But it's also, is there anything I'm not aware of that this next month, there might be a block, there might be a memory, there might be a trauma or a lie, a limiting belief, or a bunch of things, a bunch of garbage that I didn't know is still there, and that needs to be removed so that we can hear the voice of God. We can hear love. We can receive a love we may have never ever experienced on this side of heaven in our life. And we got to make sure that we are clearing that out, clearing the space. That might be what you're doing this week. And you can tell when you come across obstacles, but we don't want to just say, oh, that's okay, but I can still dream. No, maybe part of the courage is going to be um, stopping, acknowledging, and actually cleaning it out, and then going through the whole process and emptying the trash. So, y'all, I had to do all that. I had to do that on Tuesday. I personally, while my computer was doing this, my soul needed to empty trash. I didn't realize how full I was with some things. Man, it crept up on me because I had some other things going on. Quite honestly, a lot of other things were going on. And I couldn't, um, each of the other things were pretty heavy. A couple things were pretty benign, not really good or bad. It just was. And those were bumping up against some past bruising. I didn't even know I had some bruises. I didn't know I had some of that. But based on my reaction, not response, reactiveness, knee jerk reaction, you know what I'm talking about? Those reactions, lack of self-control reactions, and not being able to like get out of it in the normal way we are able, if there is a normal way, gives us indication that there's some heart healing that needs to happen. And so the really beautiful kind of moment where even on Tuesday when my friend was back and able to do the podcast, I couldn't. I sat here with my journal and my Bible. God eventually took me through Psalm 23 and just said, Tara, read this back to me. Just imagine in your as is state of I was just tired. I was allowing myself to be angry. In my journal, I even wrote hate. I mean, I just felt it all. And it didn't I wouldn't have said it was therapeutic at the moment. I wouldn't have said that. But now being, the morning, even that night last night I felt pretty good, but Wednesday morning, the second morning, excuse me, the third morning of kind of pressing through some stuff. Wow, it was like, wow, God, you really showed me some stuff that I needed to acknowledge, I needed to throw away, but then I also needed to make sure I was emptying the trash. And so I'm going to be honest with you, there's some more of that emptying the trash. Like, God, did I get it all? Am I understanding what you're saying? Did I get so fully through this process that I'm also hearing truth and love? And the only way we can tell if we fully process something is if we could actually receive, now I can hear you, and it's just from a place of contentment and peace, and I can hear who you say I am, even more descriptive statements, not just my true identity of Tara, you're my rock. I trust you, you're a firm foundation. Um, Anything else I needed to hear, anything else that he is like, "Oh, blessed are those who mourn. Now I can be something new for you that I couldn't be." So I get to be this comforter for you. I get to be in this favorite place with you and comfort you in a whole new way because you sat in this and then you received it. Now the receiving and the sticking. Ooh, okay. All right. So I want to keep journaling. And honestly, what happened is I got to the last page of my look at this capital. Look at that. Woo. There was some serious anger. Um, but I got to the end of my journal. And then some other things happened. And I'm like, okay, I just got to pick up my new journal. They were actually supposed to be in the mail. And I was these little logistics things, you know what I'm saying? But I love my new journals. And, I was waiting. I didn't have another one. So I didn't want to like pick up random pieces of paper. Silly, silly, silly excuses not to hear it. But I do have a little bit of time in between coaching sessions on this Wednesday to be able to make sure like I have fully processed. Oh, and y'all, I do what I do, and you can count on me. And I'm a person of integrity because I have my own counselor, if you will. I have my own coach. I have a Christian coach. And so she, unbelievably so, was able to be available to me because that's the other thing. Like, if I feel like I can't get past something, it is so important to pull someone else in. I'm delighted to be in this course with you or to be your one-on-one coach for a time such as this, whenever you need it. But I use mine too. So I did receive such truth and confirmation I mean, within the first 5 minutes, I'm like, yes, I get to experience not only from Jesus, but from this human being that is just my coach. I get to experience what I know my clients. Oh, it was so life-giving. So, um, the reason that I'm mentioning that and partnering that with this course is it is going to take courage. It's going to take courage for you to keep going on in this work. That is why I offered, and that was another tech glitch, but that is why I offered the free teaching to my the Lord's, the Lord's Prayer. I hope that's a blessing to you. That is in my prayer book right here, my prayer journal. It's the first page, and it just settles my heart, gets me cracked into alignment where God is reigning. All the things, my marriage, all the things isn't reigning. God is reigning. So I love the Lord's Prayer. I hope that is an additional blessing to you. All right, so I want to close this up by telling you that. Well, let me bridge the two. So your morning time with God, or whenever you do have that intimate, not the abiding with him all day long type of thing, because I'm pretty sure we all do that some way, shape, or form. But I'm praying right now that you've got daily abiding, like you just abide in his abundance, no matter what, and even if, and when you step out of it, That's the type of level of self-awareness and intentionality that I bless you with. But that I also hope that once a day that you have a date, you have tea with your grandma kind of Jesus. I want you to have that time carved out where he has full access. We're talking intimacy. We're talking full nakedness. You know what I mean? You have access. This is the bridegroom relationship, like have your way kind of thing. We need that daily. If you don't have that built in, please at least use the Lord's Prayer structure as a blessing. I'm not talking about listening to a Bible study either. I'm talking about you and Jesus alone. 5 minutes, sometime that you are intimate, very personally intimate. It's a secret, favorite place type of thing. And so may the Lord's Prayer bless you in that. But that's important because if you don't have that carved out, you're not going to get the fullness of this course because you're going to want the partnership with Jesus and me, this all that this course involves. Let me know if you need any assistance there, just more, if you need me to talk more about that. Because you're going to want to talk to Jesus on a regular basis in between our Monday nights. The first Monday night, again, I couldn't record it, so you can't play it back to hear these. So that's why I'm doing it right now. So the first Monday night set the tone through chapter 1 of the book of Acts. And it told you that session 4 is going to be each of you, if you would like, I hope that you want to. If you don't want to in the group live, that maybe you'll do it. I'm not even going to give you an out. Why am I doing that? No, I love you. I believe in you. I know this stuff works. So session 4, each of you are going to take a turn sharing what it is that is what I call an activation plan. We're in the book of Acts. So, what is it that God is trying to do through you? Because the book of Acts, the Acts 2 church is now. You and I'm a temple of God. I want to allow Acts chapter 2 to work through me. And I'm encouraging it, through you as well. Now, if there's different theologies in this, there's plenty of room. I'm not saying that everyone's going to be prophetic and praying in tongues, speaking in tongues, or having visions and dreams and all that. Now, I belong to a newer church now. Thank goodness there's one in my area that does believe in Acts 2, that all those things can happen. Now, some people have an office. This is what I just learned in the last year or so, that some people have the gift in the office, like God blessed. And I do, this is me, like the prophetic gift, being able to hear and act, hear God's voice. What loving thing is he saying, to be able to have that flow through me? Now, we all can hear God's voice and we all can share his message. We all can do that as believers. We have the Holy Spirit in us, so we can do what Jesus did. We can do what the Spirit of God did through people and circumstances. Again, theology shifts a titch, and that's okay. We can hold space. I'm just letting you know that this book of Acts, chapter 1 and chapter 2, is really what we're saying. Hey, minimally, I believe that heaven is trying to work through me. And what might that look like? Because I am a vessel that's unique. I am a person of clarity. I'm a communicator. I'm a writer. I'm a teacher. I am, and upon all that, my identity is that I'm dependable and trustworthy and stable, upon which much can be built. And so I tend to build teams and foundations where I go, blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot to it. That is a different set of identity, statements and skills and talents and giftings that would be different for each one of you. Now, some of you might have some of those same qualities that I have that I mentioned, and yet it's going to come out differently. That's the abundant perspective. And what happens is, well, we don't need more of blank in the world. We have enough people, like Jody's situation with the cancer journey. Oh, well, there's so and so out there that already is doing this so well. Why I don't need no. It's you. There's room for enough of everyone's giftings, even if other people are showing up in the world with the similar giftings. You are going to be able to bring heaven to earth for a slice of people. They're waiting for you. People are waiting in your sphere of influence. They're waiting for you. They know that that person is available, but that's just not that person's cup of tea. Or that person is available, but they're doing it very differently. And I know that person's around, but it's just anyway. There's reasons why people will connect with you and will receive and experience heaven through you very differently than through the next person. So the question, Jesus, if I were completely an open vessel, free, joy, have your way, work through me, what would it look like? And I'm keeping it open ended for a reason. What would it look like? For me, I would get that book published. Well, I used to say I would write my home invasion story because it's the story of God. It's my testimony. It's the heart of God. My book is showing people through a worst nightmare happening. It's the heart of God for everyone. So, Tara, when you get over X, Y, and Z, let's write this book. It might be say yes to that ministry, even if you don't think you're equipped. Say yes. Have that conversation with that person that you're terrified to have that conversation. Let's be courageous together because I want reconciliation. I want to work through you to bring reconciliation. That's God's doing, but it could be anything. It could be job change. It could be, hey, I really want to do this. I really want to do this hobby. I really want to volunteer here. I really want to start I really just want to be more open and brave in my current work. Hey, I don't want you to change a thing. Don't change anything, which just reminded me of 5 levels of change. Ooh, thank you, Jesus, for that reminder. I would have forgotten to bring that into the course. So, Bob Hamp, if you want to jump ahead, YouTube, Bob Hamp. Woo, so good. So don't change anything. Don't move your home. Don't leave that person or stop that friendship or put that boundary like, yeah, maybe that boundary needs to be up. That's healthy. But don't change anything. Just let me work through you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Let me work through you, flow freely through you in this space, in this relationship. What would that look like? So that is what you're pressing into. And you are going to just be free flow. Let all visions, let all, my dog's going kind of crazy, let all visions, let all symbols, and the weirder, the better, the more obscure, the more outlandish. Man, that doesn't make sense. All of it is so good. Journal it, write it down, and capture it. And then just bring it back to Jesus and just say, what do you want me to know about this? So I hope this whole video blessed you. I hope you go to Abundantly Me podcast on Spotify. Maybe you go Spotify, Apple Podcasts is where you can find the Abundantly Me podcast, but you can also go to Abundantly Me, our website, and just click the free resources and then click podcast and you'll get all of them. So, and then I'll be doing a Facebook Live about some other revelations I've had. So, anyway, y'all, buckle up because this is going to be good. This is going to be a beautiful, high invite, high challenge month with Jesus. I love you. Have a great rest of your day.